No, but this is an insane news week. Like, I am shocked right now by like the things on the docket today. Oh my god, we have a lot to get through. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 39th episode of the Fans of DC Universe podcast, the only DC podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source for all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DCU. Joining us this week, we have Awesome.Squid,
Hello.
the fantabulous TornadoSoup,
Hello.
and the expert on everything JSA, Stargirl, and more, Aurora.
It really wouldn't make sense to have this episode without Aurora.
I know. I was like, last night, I was like, Aurora, please, 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 can you be on there tonight? Please, I don't want to do this if you're not going to be on there. Aurora's like, Stargirl, 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 Stargirl. Stargirl is happening. I'm so excited. And now it's finally here.
Well, everybody knows what a JSA fangirl I am, so.
That is so true. This week
They're
we
all
are discussing, but like I said earlier, we have a lot to talk about. So this week, yes, we are discussing Stargirl's premiere, which is incredibly exciting and should be the biggest news thing of the day. But like, there's so much other stuff too. Harley Quinn, episode 7. I think it was episode 7. Huge thing at the end. We're definitely going to talk about. The Snyder cut is all but officially confirmed. The potential return of the Super Sons. That's right. Doom Patrol and DC's August Solicits and Swamp Thing potential second season.
So
like it's like, and I didn't even say all of the things that we're going to talk about this week.
Is
That's
Swamp
how
Thing
crazy
even
it is.
allowed to air on TV? I feel like there's laws
we're gonna
against
talk
that
about
kind of
it.
stuff airing on TV.
But real quick, I just want to go over the comics coming out this week. Aquaman number 48, Batman number 71, Justice League number 24, Naomi number 5, Nightwing number 60, Superman number 11, Teen Titans number 30, and Teen Titans Go number 34. So very, very, very simple week this week, but that's okay. I think we have way too much to talk about that we don't need a lot of stuff to go into. But here's my question. What did you guys read this week? Just one comic that you really like.
I started reading Crisis on Earth A, which is...
Wait, what?
Earth A?
It's one of the crises on multiple Earths that time period.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's an Earth A?
Well, kind of. It's kind of... It's not like a regular Earth in the multiverse, but basically, like, the evil Johnny Thunder of Earth 1 steals the Thunderbolt of Johnny Thunder of Earth 2 and, like, messes with history so that none of the Justice League is around. And then that makes this new timeline, which he dubs Earth A, because it's A for alternate. And then he uses the Thunderbolt to take over the world, and by take over the world, I mean rob a bank.
What?
And that's all he does. He just robs a couple banks. He robs a boat. He robs like a rich person boat, but really
What?
Have you not?
I feel like I'm listening to like an explanation of X-Men continuity right now. Because like there's this
Which one
podcast
is
to
that
listen
one?
to.
That's the is that the? I want to say that's the third crossover, right?
I think so, because it was Crisis on Earth 1 and Earth 2, then Crisis on Earth 3, and then I think they ran out of numbers. They just didn't want to do Earth 4. They
They ran
changed it to
out of
letters.
numbers. They couldn't go to 4, so they went to A.
Yeah, so they started letters. Or maybe Gardner Fox just didn't know how to count. 1, 2, 3, A. I don't know.
Can you imagine the person coming up with the same? It's like, why not use Earth 4? They're like, well, I'm trying to remember like what comes after 3. I don't know if I think 4 comes after. Let's just start over with A. It's just like I can't imagine a conversation where like they would have chosen A. Other than maybe they didn't want it to seem like a sequel or something. I don't know. That's such a weird one.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was just a fun title for the annual event.
Yeah.
A
Well, and it's not like they went into the multiverse. The Justice Society comes over from Earth 2.
Okay.
It's really just Earth 1 and Earth 2, and then Earth 1 becomes Earth A. So,
but I feel like I'm listening to, like, when you were explaining that, I felt like I was listening to an explanation of X-Men continuity, because there's this very this podcast called like Jay and Miles Explains the X-Men, which I love listening to, and I read the comics and then like I follow along with where they are in
Hey, you're not
continuity.
allowed to promote any other podcasts.
It's like
It's
I've
not
never done
limited
this
to
before.
this
Oh,
one.
I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Don't tell them that there's better podcasts out there.
Oh, I mean, it's
I
not
think they
anything to do
know.
with DC, so whatever.
Oh no.
Also, of course there are better podcasts out there. You think like no, like of course. I'm not even, anyway. The point is they begin
Yeah, the better
they
podcast
begin
out
every
there is
story, they
us.
begin every episode with like a minute explanation of like an X-Men character's continuity, and it always ends with the word "what" because they get so absurd and so crazy that you're just like, what the heck is going on? This week
Cool.
I read a bunch of stuff. Actually, I read most everything that came out this week. Which I was really proud of because it's been a while since I've done that. But I really liked rereading through Batman and the Outsiders because I think this time I had more appreciation for what was going on coming in because I'd read On the Outside when it came to DC Universe, the Detective Comics volume number 9. Yep, and I really appreciate that. I also just am so thankful that there is a title that's almost all people of color and minorities. Like I just think it's so cool, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like Batman's the only non-minority I think in that entire cast, which is super cool. Although in
Batman there, because
yeah, because you can't have a comic if you're DC without having a white guy somewhere in there. What?
without having
Well-
specifically Batman's there.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's got anything to do with the fact that he's white. It's the bat.
It's just the fact that he's Batman. You can't have
Yes.
a comic without Batman. Yep.
There's every series at some point in its run crosses over with Batman. There's got to be Batman. Batman on the cover.
Aurora, what did you read
It's
this
a
week?
shame that it's that way, but DC figures itself out and starts using its other characters well.
Yeah.
They're going to be relying on the Batman crush.
Aurora, what did you read this week?
I've been reading a bit more of Infinity Inc. because I'm putting together my next post for the JSA book club, and I've also been reading quite a bit of Batgirl. So,
Hey. I love it. Which Batgirl series are you reading?
I was actually checking out the Year One series and also some of Birds of Prey. So,
Which Birds of Prey series?
I think the most recent one.
The Batgirl and the Birds of Prey?
Yes.
Do you like it? Because I really like it.
Yeah, I do too.
I thought
I
the
like-
series was just okay.
Did you read the whole thing?
No.
Not quite yet. I'm making my way through it.
See, that's part of it. Is it was just like one of those like underrated series that just like consistently like delivered like great moments and great characters, like and just like great fun, and like did a
Yeah,
great job delving into like Oracle in like a way that no one else did. And a lot of people didn't love the way they handled Oracle, but like even like Batgirl barely talked about Oracle. Like it very much felt like this is where like they really cared about like who Barbara was and embraced like the rebirth ideas that were like theoretically supposed to be set forth.
Maybe I should give the series a second shot because I dropped it after like 12
That
issues
and
or
Black
something.
Canary is always a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah. Also, like,
Black
did you know
Canary
Black
is
Canary
never
learns
fun.
how to fly? I'm not joking. You'll have to read it to find out more. Last one. Who didn't check in? TornadoSoup. No, it was Awesome.Squid. What did you read this week?
Yeah.
What have I read? I've just
Yeah.
been rereading the entirety of the Robin series for some reason.
Which Robin series?
I want to say it's 90s, right? Yeah, the 90s one.
Okay.
That original one.
And why are you choosing to reread it?
I don't know. I like it.
You're so simple. You're just like, I don't know. I just like it. I love it.
It's
Okay.
weird because it's not like particularly good, but I think it's a fun
Yeah.
series. Afterwards, I'm planning on rereading Birds of Prey. I like those the original Birds of Prey.
I would
like
love.
those two series. Those series are like my comfort food series.
Yeah, I get it. And I would love to keep talking about Robin, but we have way too much news to talk about. So we're moving
Robin
on.
isn't important.
Wait a second. I've got one thing that I forgot to add about Crisis on Earth A.
Okay.
Alan Scott uses his ring shrink Earth 2 Adam so that he looks like Earth 1 Adam, and that's it. The ring that makes him fly and does construct. It can shrink people now. That's it.
I don't remember that. It's been a long time since I read Crisis on Earth A.
It also makes Hawkman green, but just continue.
Oh boy.
I feel like that was even weirder than the first one you said, but that's okay. So DC Universe announces
that was just the first issue.
Okay.
It's only like 2 issues though.
It was 2 issues, but still.
Oh, okay. It would have been so funny that there was 6 issues left, and you're just like, what? But that being said, DC Universe announces what's coming in June of 2020. We have Stargirl episode, like a Stargirl. We have more Harley Quinn. We have Superman Red Sun coming out on June 17th. Mark your calendars for that. That's a big one. But the biggest thing, which I can't believe I'm saying that the biggest thing. Oh wait, we also have the Harley Quinn finale, so it's going to end at the end of June. But the biggest thing is we have our first week where we have 3 different shows happening at the same time. People say DC Universe is dying, but here we go. 3 different shows going on simultaneously. That's never happened before, just saying. And the week before, we have 3 different major things coming, including Harley Quinn, Super Stargirl, and Red Sun. So we have some insane weeks in June. But the big one is Doom Patrol has a release date. It will be coming out on June 25th. Yay, it's a Thursday.
I'm so excited.
No, I'm so excited. Doom Patrol is one of those series, like, I know people are frustrated that it's going to HBO Max because, like, they feel like it's a DC Universe show and should stay there. But at the same time, I'm so excited for people to, like, watch Doom Patrol and then be like, oh my god, this show is amazing. And feel like the feelings I've had about the show for the last year, or like a year and a half now. It's been a while, right? Because it came out in January,
because
like
of
in
the
February.
Virus.
Yeah.
I mean, Doom Patrol, when it came out, despite being on DC Universe, wasn't really. It was still talked about.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
HBO Max during a lockdown.
It's going to be in the zeitgeist.
I think it's actually going to be like, a big thing.
Plus, like, it'll be one of the things that people will be going to when HBO Max comes out at the end of this month in like a week and a half. So I'm so excited about that. And I'm super curious to see what else happens. For example, Stargirl, right? Will Stargirl be coming to HBO Max after it finishes its run on CW? I'll be honest, I feel like the answer could be yes.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, like
in fact, it makes me
Harley
wonder after their deals with the other streaming services are up if the Arrowverse shows won't be migrating over there.
Oh, they definitely will. They've even talked about it. They're like,
I mean, that's gonna be told
we as Warner Brother want credit for the Arrowverse shows. They specifically mentioned. So,
but isn't that going to be 2022?
Last I read, and I don't know how accurate this is anymore, but the deal was that Netflix had the rights to the show as long as for the entirety of the show's original run. Like, Arrow is no longer... I think Arrow's moving over to... Arrow is done because it's no longer airing new episodes. And then Batwoman isn't going to Netflix at all. It's just going straight to HBO Max. But then, like this latest season of Supergirl is going to Netflix. But
right.
If it gets canceled after season 6, then it'll move off of Netflix and go to HBO.
Well, then it's working. What I heard is any show that started during that initial deal will stay on Netflix until some eventual expiration date. But any show
that's my question. When's the expiration date?
I have no idea, but the original deal already sort of expired, so now any new shows from this TV season are going to be going over to probably HBO Max. So
okay, let's be clear.
Nancy Drew.
You guys are both right, and you guys are both wrong at the same time. My understanding is that last year, there was a contract that was signed that basically said that any new shows that are created on the entirety of CW that were written had to deal with Netflix. And then when they were asked to renew their deals, basically it said up to the year 2018. And when asked to renew their deal, CW said no, mostly likely because of HBO Max and DC Universe.
Mhm.
And so what that meant was that any new shows created after 2018, so that's Batwoman, are now free reign, which means that they're almost certainly going to HBO.
That's what I said. Well, you explained it better than me, but that's what I meant.
Okay, got it. Anyway, also comics coming out in June. We have Leviathan Rising, Superman Leviathan Rising. Great comic. Leviathan just is a horrible story overall, but the first 3 issues are just really, really solid. It's just Bendis didn't know how to end it. We also have Batman Penguin Triumphant 1992 coming, as well as the Dog Days of Summer #1, and the end of Heroes in Crisis. So you'll be able to read the whole thing there. We're definitely going to talk about on New to DCU. We also have Event Leviathan #1, and we also have that's all the big things I have to share. But those are some great comics. And then there is nothing leaving this month, and which is exciting. So in June, and then we're not getting some of the TV shows we were supposed to get in May yet. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that's okay. Like some of the movies, like the animated movies. So who knows what's going on with that. But also HBO Max comes out in a week and a half, so you guys are going to get to watch a bunch of stuff there, which makes me so confused. Like Joker is going to be streamable in 8 days, but Joker's not coming in June. So that's, I think, where the first big hit is. I know we were talking about it last time when they did the updates. It was maybe that's when the HBO Max thing, because they were teasing a big announcement. Is it would be oh, we're getting all the DC stuff from HBO Max, but no, that's not what's happening. But that's okay. We talked about the Titans news last week, right? With the spinoff.
Yeah.
Okay, because that also was heavily discussed this week, but that broke on the show, so we're not going to talk about that. Let's move on to the next topic. Speaking of the upcoming plans being released, the CW picks up Swamp Thing. So I'm pulling this article from 411mania.com, which I know sounds completely untrustworthy, but whatever. I could have chosen a better source, but I just clicked on the first article I could. Swamp Thing once was a one and done on DC Universe, but it will be having a re-airing of its sole season on the CW this fall. The CW announced it during a media call this week that the James Wan produced series, which ran for a single season on DC Universe streaming service, will air on the broadcast network. On the call, Mark Pedowitz said that more episodes is not impossible for Swamp Thing, but he made it clear that that is not the current plan. At the moment, it's just one season. I do not know if it would come back. Obviously, that would be a discussion for Warner Brothers and the CW. But at this time, Swamp Thing is just the episodes we have.
Yeah, they just need something to air.
Yeah, that's I'm hopeful that does really well in CW and then gets renewed.
Yeah, if it does well, I'm sure there will be discussions to renew it.
But here's the thing.
Chance now than it did before.
Can you imagine how much they're going to have to edit that show?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I feel like it's just going to be
premiere 59 minutes.
Well, there's a ton of
that and for content, not necessarily the horror factor is the language,
I mean, yeah. You can just beep that out, but how are they going to remove the scene where the guy has the freaking in the first episode, where the corpse has the tendrils come out of it and it sort of just falls apart, and it's ugh. Can they put that on TV? I don't think you can legally. I think that's I think there are actually laws against that.
If it's rated M, I mean, CW doesn't generally do rated M content, but if it's rated M, would it qualify?
Can they? I don't know that they it could be rated TVMA and it would be fine. I don't know that the CW can air that though.
Yeah, I don't there's laws about the content you're allowed to put on TV. The only reason streaming services can get so intense is because they're not beholden to the same laws. If they
don't have to worry about.
They definitely can't air until late at night.
Yeah. Well, and there's advertisers too. That's where a lot of it comes from. That's why, because like HBO is fine, even though it's on TV, because they don't have ads.
Yeah,
I think overall that has been changing because like AMC has The Walking Dead and that's plenty bloody. That still has commercials in it.
That's
I think it is changing a little, but even still.
Well, they also have
Advertisers
shows
don't
like
want their
Whose Line Is
products
It
associated
Anyway,
with
which are
such
like highly
violence.
inappropriate, right? For like kids.
It's not that bad. I mean, yeah, you can't.
It would definitely have to
5-year-old
be.
shouldn't be watching it.
Yeah, it would definitely have to be in like the 10 o'clock time slot.
Yeah, like
But the
Yeah.
CW doesn't
whatever
do
it's
that,
called, the
right? They
Watershed.
do 8 and 9, right?
Yeah, I would say it would
Yeah.
definitely have to be the later time slot. When the kids are less likely to be watching it.
Yeah, that's
Or
like
even they'd
whatever
have
it's
to
called,
put
Watershed.
that whole not for sensitive viewers warning on it.
And for discretion advised, and
Yes.
Okay, they released their schedules. Let me see what the time slot was. But because I saw it because I think IGN posted what this CW schedule was. So, but I can't find it. So no, I can't find it. So I don't know. I'll come back to this in a second. But let's come back to this because we have a lot more to talk about. The Snyder Cut is apparently coming to the HBO Max, according to CBR. Now, CBR rarely uses the words report unless it's something that's actually true. This means it's most likely happening.
It better not
After
be doing it. I've been spending the past 3 years saying it doesn't exist.
I don't know.
Physical state.
So let me
I've
read
got
the
that-
article.
Dang fool.
This comes from Samuel Gelman. After years of hashtags, letters, and leaks, apparently the Release the Snyder Cut movement may have finally gotten what they want. A new report from Jeremy Conrad's DC EU Mythic says that some form of Justice League's Snyder Cut may stream on HBO Max. This rules out a DC Universe release, which some were saying was a possibility. Yes, this sucks, but it also doesn't quite rule it out because what if, HBO Max says what they're going to do and they say, hey, we'll split it. Not saying that won't happen. That's what fans want, but who knows? The news comes just days after it was reported that Snyder met with the DC executives for a private screening of his cut of Justice League. The product is unfinished and would cost $20 million and additional filming to complete. However, it is clearly watchable.
I feel like $20 million to complete is doable for a streaming service, especially when they're trying to launch.
Especially for like when
Netflix
Mandalorian was like
spends,
120.
and Netflix is a smaller company than.
Yeah, but like, additional shooting, are they going to be able to get the actors back?
I'm
Are you
sure.
really gonna?
Do they have to do additional shooting to finish it?
No. So here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
They could like release it unfinished because they said it's clearly watchable.
I heard that all this Release the Snyder Cut fans have been telling me that the filming has been completed.
So this is where the questions start to come, okay? It's possible post-production wasn't finished on some of the stuff. A lot of it was filmed. Apparently it's possible that some of it wasn't filmed. Because here's the thing, if it had all been filmed, then when Snyder left, they would have just been done. Right? Like there was clearly filming that hadn't been done. Right? For whatever the original script was. And so we'll see.
I don't think there's any evidence of that, is there?
Well, no, here's the thing, right? Snyder left all of a sudden when he had death in his family. And he was like, I need to go.
Yeah, that's right.
And so he didn't finish the movie, and they brought on someone else to finish it, which involved reshoots, etc., which included the famous mustache, the most expensive mustache of all time. Remember, it was Henry Cavill. Still one of the most fascinating stories of that movie is they had to bit his entire mustache off. And it cost it cost like $50-60 million too.
I heard that Warner Brothers actually called Paramount because Cavill grew the mustache for another movie, so they called Paramount and said, "Hey, could he just shave it off and you guys just CGI on a mustache? Because that would be easier. Yeah, way easier." And I have a feeling that Paramount just laughed. We're not gonna risk our movie for you.
Yeah, we're not gonna add like an extra $10 million. you can add another 70 million on yours. Oh my god. Can you imagine like being like what let's like, hey dad, what do you do for work? Or like you know, like you're dating and you're like, hey, what do you do work for work? And you're like, your girlfriend is like, or no, and your girlfriend's like, oh, I'm editing a mustache off Henry Cavill. That's all I do with my life. It'd be so funny.
Well, they were making the first Arkham game. There was one guy at 2 years just working on Batman's cape. Like that was his whole job, 2 years straight.
Yeah. I just think it's so fascinating. It must be such the weirdest job to have.
Or not. I've heard that. I've also heard that it possibly isn't true. But it definitely could be true. Have you seen how amazing the cape is in this game?
Yeah.
Gotta love the cape.
Okay, but here's the thing. How do you guys feel about this actually happening? Do you feel like it emboldens fans to do things like this, or what?
No. Well, I mean, I feel like it will, but like, oh, the Snyder Cut got released. Do it. I'm not sure they're doing it because of the movie, though.
Okay, by the way, on the CW question, Swamp Thing will be airing at 8/7 Central. So it'll be the 8 to 9 slot.
What?
On CW.
Oh, that's nuts. They are really gonna have to edit.
Yeah.
But they are the only DC show coming out in the entirety of the first quarter, or the first half of the year, so fall 2020. And then it'll be...
the slot that's too early for Legends.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the official schedule for 2021 will be Batwoman on Sundays, Batwoman and Charmed on Sundays, All American and Black Lightning on Mondays, The Flash and Superman and Lois on Tuesdays, Riverdale and Nancy Drew on Wednesdays, Walker and Legacies on Thursday, and Friday will be Penn and Teller Fools Us, and Whose Line Is It Anyway?
That's like the 2020 schedule, though, right?
Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Dynasty, In the Dark, and Roswell, New Mexico will debut sometime in the quote-unquote mid-season of 2021.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how's CW going to survive reruns?
Swamp Thing. It's just Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
The Swamp Thing channel.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: they're buying a bunch of stories, like Masters of Illusion. They're doing from home apparently. Whose Line Is It Anyway? They're doing from home because you can stream that. I don't know what Penn and Teller Fools Us is, but I think that's also a magician show, so they can do that. I don't know what Pandora is, but I know they bought Tell Me a Story. They bought 2 Sentence Horror Stories, and so they have a bunch of.
Well, they already.
Or like 2 Sentence Horror Stories is supposed to be a summer thing, right? So they're just moving that to the fall.
2 Sentence Horror Stories is such a crappy idea for a show, by the way. It's like, oh, what's that one popular, like, oh, I was on Reddit one. It will be trendy with the kids.
But I mean, they gotta do something, you know.
There's
been like summer crap.
I mean,
right?
Summer is usually a slow time for television anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Except the problem is now fall is going to be a slow time. With the exception of The Mandalorian, The Boys, Under Umbrella Academy, and Doom Patrol, which all made it through.
I can't wait for The Mandalorian. I want to see all my favorite characters in live action.
Because I mean, it's the whole pandemic that is making people like scramble because.
And apparently, Disney's still saying WandaVision and Captain America and Falcon are still going to debut in their current time slot, which will be August and December.
I wonder how they'll pull that off. Wait, is filming done?
WandaVision finished. Captain America and the Falcon did not. But it's possible they could edit. I don't know they didn't film. So this is what happened. They only had left was the filming in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico got hit by a hurricane, so they had to hold off. But they were done with everything else. And then the pandemic hit right after the hurricane.
Oh, jeez.
So they just haven't gotten to finish.
They could probably afford to just completely like get AI to recreate the sets or something.
Yeah, or it will be like they're hoping they can in like July, like do like the final like who I don't know however many minutes they need to do, but it's possible it was only like a couple days of shooting, and they could figure something out. Maybe use the Mandalorian set, figure something out, you know.
Or even if it wasn't originally meant to be a couple days of shooting, they could turn it into a couple days of shooting with some rewrites.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Or just
And
just write
film
the
some
whole
change
section to be
scenes to
1 hour max or something. Or 10 minutes or something easy that they can quickly edit and get back in. I wouldn't but that's what they're still saying. They're also apparently still saying that what's that show that was there's another show they're saying will still happen. Oh, so that's Survivor. Yeah, that's probably not happening. Well, anyway, sorry.
Survivor,
on the air.
The reality TV show.
Haven't
That's
you
still
been
on the
binging
air?
that or something?
Yeah, they just had their
There's
best
50
season
seasons
ever
of it now.
of Survivor. They're on season 40, and the season 40 was all winners of past seasons coming on, and it was.
I don't think I have ever watched a single episode of that.
So
I've
funny.
watched
But
3.
I got really
good.
obsessed with it.
I'm
But
not a reality
we
TV
don't have
person.
time to talk about Survivor, guys.
Neither am I.
We have way too much other stuff to talk about, including Tom Taylor putting out another Superman teaser. It's a picture. I'm going to preface this. It's a picture with young John, Damian wearing wearing a Batman costume, and Stephanie Brown in what appears to be a Robin costume. Okay, and they're all in a photo together.
Oh no, Stephanie Brown and a Robin
And
costume.
at the top
that
it says
doesn't end
Chapter
well.
1, and this person's holding a photograph of them. Now, connecting 2 and 2 together, earlier last week, Tom Taylor posted a teaser of just Superman flying. So here's the question. Okay, here's the question. What is Tom Taylor teasing?
I feel like this image might just be deceased. Because of the font. The font looks like a deceased font.
Yeah, or maybe another deceased spin-off since the art's different.
The art is different, which is weird. So maybe it is. I feel like Tom Taylor is definitely working on a separate Superman project at this point, but I don't know if this image is from that or from deceased.
Well, didn't something happen to Superman and deceased?
Yeah. Spoilers? Are those okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
He kind of went insane, got infected, started killing everything. I think they put him in the sun or something.
No, Deceased 2 is supposed to focus on the Super Sons, right? Like Damian taking over as Batman and John being Superman, right?
Yes, that's what the sequel is going to be about.
So, but here's the question: is this him practicing writing Super Sons, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so good at this. Let's have you do the series in continuity." Maybe, I don't know, but it's an interesting.
I feel like that's probably if he is writing something else, which I think he is. I don't think that's how it would have gone,
But by the way, the Tom Taylor teaser image from the teaser, May 4th, so it was 12 days ago. That he said something red, something blue, something soon, coming new, or coming soon, something new. And so I think he's writing Superman, and I'm curious even more so, but we shall see. Also, talking about new stuff, we could theorize about what someone else is writing, but we know what a bunch of people are writing in August, right? Including Batman 3 Jokers, Deceased Dead Planet 2, Dark Knight's Death Metal 3, and 2 Dark Knight's Death Metal spin-offs, Legends of the Dark Knights #1 and Death Metal Guides #1. Now, both of these, they're both really interesting, but they're both sort of a set of short stories that are going to be all in one issue with tons of different writers and artists. And the basic premise is they're all going to explain the world of death metal. Guidebook is going to showcase the new factions of Earth and explore the mystery of what happened to our heroes after their battle of Perpetua. How does Wonder Woman, the new Queen of Hell, reign over her prisoners? Wait, what? What is Batman Black Panther? I'm just spoiling the whole thing, so I'm not going to keep going. Don't read the solicits if you don't want spoilers. Also, in the other one, it's going to look at a bunch of different...
Do you think that these were originally meant to be anthology issues?
Probably.
Or were they originally intended to all be separate issues, but because of special circumstances?
Okay.
It sounds like
quite possible that these were last-minute script writes because they were like, well, we're delaying this whole thing by a month and a half. We're making this bigger. If we're going to make this bigger, we need some good spin-offs.
No
What's
way
quick?
that they were
No,
going to make
listen.
it
What's
bigger.
super quick to make? A bunch of anthologies. For example, when Joker, like there are people on Joker who hadn't even been announced as creators for the Joker
No
idea.
way. There was always going to be spin-offs, and right now we only have 2.
Yes, but
There's
we
no
don't
way it's
know.
any
But here's the
bigger
thing:
than it
we
was
don't know if
originally
like
intended.
these were the original intended spin-offs or not, right?
No, what I'm saying is, I think that what might have happened is they might have planned each of these individual short stories, or at least a good chunk of them, might have originally intended to be separate issues, but they're like, oh crap, we can't get stuff done as fast because of the virus. So let's just shorten the stories, put them into an anthology, and throw in some more stuff in there too.
Or
like
it's
condensing
possible.
the spin-offs.
It's also possible, and I think, is that some of these, or that maybe it's possible that they were intended to be just one book, and they were like, well, we have time, we're making death metal bigger.
No.
Let's do more time connecting stuff, which is part of what Death Metal Guidebook seems to be. And let's
I don't think that's it.
Anthologies are very easy to make. You can make an anthology story in like a month, right? You only need like 4 or 5 pages. Like you only need like 9 pages, which a writer can do in a week generally.
Takes an artist like half a month.
No, I meant an artist can do in like a week. 9 pages.
9 pages?
Artists can do them shorter than that, like in 4 days.
Yeah, 9 pages.
So it's quite possible that's what happened. They were like, well, we can double the size of this and like thematically bring them into 2 topics.
I doubt that. I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt that they're like, okay, let's increase in scale. If any, I think that either these were the intended spin-offs or they're an attempt to condense the spin-offs into anthologies. Because, we could have gotten like a whole issue that was Queen of Hell or something. But now it's relegated to a short story.
In other news?
I'm not sure. It could go either way. Like I said, I have literally no idea what we're about.
Who knows? Right, we're just guessing. In other news, Harley Quinn hits number 75. Detective Comics and more are included in Joker War. The Dream Waking Hours will happen. Strange Adventures will have number 4. The finale of the Super Sons DC Kids book, which I read the first issue. It's actually the first book. It's actually pretty good. But
I haven't been reading it. I haven't been reading any of the new comics.
It's actually the most political book comics has done. I'm not joking. In like a while. Like there's like the whole premise of it that Superman has to leave because the climate change is destroying the world, and he has to go get a cure.
That was wait. What are you talking about?
It's going to take him 8 months to get.
Are you talking
the
about the
Super
graphic
Sons DC
novel?
Kids book? Yeah, the graphic novel.
Oh no, I read that.
Yeah, it's so political. I love it though.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's the most political thing DC has done.
One of the most political, by far, though.
It certainly has like political themes in it, like about climate change.
It's like it's a post-apocalyptic world almost, or like the apocalypse is pending.
No, I definitely agree that's political. I wouldn't say it's the most political they've done. It's one of the most political things they've done recently.
Joshua Williams is leaving the Flash at the end of October. Although he said it's that there's more going on. So I don't have time to pull up the tweet, but there is more to the story than just Joshua Williams leaving.
I've seen the promo images, and Wally's looking very not blue.
Yeah. So this gets really
silly. DC. Wally is Dr. Manhattan now.
Yes. Now, I'd like to think that they figured this out, and that this is part of the plan, and that there's something to do with death metal. I don't know, though. We don't know. Maybe it's
I feel like there's not a plan.
Maybe it's an alternate timeline. We'll find out. Okay, this is a new DC post-COVID. They had a month to figure their shit out.
Yeah, hopefully they have.
Hopefully they have.
But I don't know how, because honestly, before in early interviews, before COVID was even a dream anyone had, when it was still inside memes about how the 2020s were going to have another plague, but nobody thought it actually would happen. Back in those good old days when we were all stuck in home fearing death, there there were interviews with Scott Snyder about death metal, and it really, really sounded like it was just him trying to desperately make the DC universe make sense.
Oh no, it totally sounds like that. But I think
like it was just him specifically trying to make things make sense.
But I think he might do it.
I'm interested in seeing how they try.
Right? Like we all know that Snyder originally intended 50 issues of Justice League, right? But Justice League number 50 is coming in August. And it has another writer, and then Justice League number 51 has another writer. It's like they just can't figure out what they're supposed to do with that title. And yeah, that's the thing.
We're in some sort of purgatory until death metal happens. Now we're in double purgatory because of coronavirus.
Here's my proposal, and what happened, okay? DC was like, Snyder, you're doing such a good job with your stories. I know you wanted to go to Justice League number 50, and you had a 50-issue run planned. Or no, this is probably like at the end, early 2019. He was like, I know you have like this whole thing planned, but can you do me us a favor? Can you shorten your run and then spend the rest of your time figuring out how to fix the DC universe?
No, that's not. I feel like.
Are you sure?
I feel like that's not. I think Scott Snyder pitched his plan of how to fix the DC universe. Like,
okay,
I'll give you any book you want because you're Scott Snyder.
He's like, yes, we'll give you any book you want. What do you want? He's like, can I have the entire DC continuity?
Well, I mean, he already did with Justice League, basically. That's what it was.
That's all the good stuff coming out.
The way Scott Snyder has talked, it sounds like he is teaming up with other writers, and they sort of had like a vague plan for where they wanted the DC universe to go together.
Yeah.
But it didn't sound like DC like editorial or leadership was really dictating those plans or giving the structure. It was more writers coming together to sort of try to make a plan, and it just failed. But let's see if that's still a thing.
We'll speak. Anyway, speaking of the Flash and death metal, there's apparently a rumored title that Scott Snyder accidentally mentioned on social media.
Accidentally?
Apparently, he was in a live stream with answering questions. And he talked a lot about death metal.
He mentions things all again. Oh, like
and then
the freaking
mentioned that he mentioned something called speed metal. Now, Scott Snyder stated that the energy from Wally West got from Dr. Manhattan that was received from Dr. Manhattan in Flash Forward will be very important in death metal, in which Wally West, Jay Garrick, Barry Allen will all run together away from a villain, and that this title spinoff this will be called speed metal. Maybe it wasn't accidental. I don't know. And then apparently there's an image from Greg Capullo with a certain speedster, and like the fan art. I think it's just the Flash though, so I don't know what all those details are. But so that's something. I would talk more about it. We got to keep moving. DC had their big rewards program last week, right? And people are like thrilled. It's like yay! And congrats on DC on a 2-week launch from beta to launch, which is incredible.
I feel bad because I haven't been maxing out my tokens each week.
I felt really bad, but I maxed them out this week. I was so proud of myself.
I feel too lazy to spend the effort to max them out, but I'm just holding myself back from getting the Batgirl statue I want.
That's gonna run out before you get.
Worst enemy. It's going to. It's gonna run out before I get it.
Yeah.
It'd be sad.
You have the exclusive Comic-Con poster, so?
I think it was all that many points, though.
15,000.
Like, choose your favorite characters, like thing for the, so you can get like opportunities or something. Batgirl wasn't an option.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually seen any of that useful yet. But maybe that's just.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess, it's something coming. Because there's also that rumored recommendation thing that they said would happen that just never really happened.
Well, you know how you have that like menu screen for the rewards, which gives you like a list of some comics you can read to get some tokens, and it's not like they're a special amount of tokens or anything; it's the normal amount, but just suggests some. Does your favorite character list affect that? I haven't been able to tell.
It's supposed to. I haven't seen it affect.
Well, I think you get points for reading any comic. It's just certain comics give you extra.
Except now, here's the thing. Something I think has changed.
I haven't seen
because
any
I was reading a bunch of comics, and all of them, and I mean all of them, were giving me 15 points per read. That tells me
it depends on the series. Like I said, certain
not how much they're supposed to give you, because they've never given me less than 15.
They used to be 10. Now they're always like every book I've read this week gave me 15.
Well, I only started like 2 weeks ago.
But yeah, look here.
Giving me 15.
I'm looking at the page with the rewards on it, and it looks like the Batgirl statue is 1,000 tokens.
Yeah, only 1,000. I want it so bad. Look at it; it's so good. I've wanted that Batgirl statue for a long time.
I still love. Yeah, it's only 1,000.
But still, let's see. I think I'm at 1,065 myself right now.
I get it.
You could afford it.
Okay, I'm thinking.
Not really my thing though.
Okay.
Next week, should we do?
I'm not a big merchandise person, but I'll make an exception for a nice Batgirl statue.
Okay, here's a proposal. What if next week we give away? We gave away a DC Universe 30-day subscription.
What?
How would you feel if next week on the podcast we did a giveaway?
Oh, that's a nice idea.
I don't know if it would work.
Discussing it on the podcast, our plans for the future of the podcast.
Like what I would do them before is throughout the podcast.
I mean, Donnell already has a membership, so
the code, and then you could type in the whole code.
Our only listener already has a membership.
Yeah, that's true. Donnell, we love you.
I've never gotten a chance to talk to Donnell yet. When will Don?
How long will Harley Quinn
take to finish? Because I'm enjoying Harley Quinn, but Donnell will come on until Harley Quinn is done. Right.
And then I forget if he came on for Doom Patrol. I think he did. Anyway, the big discussion, and we got to move on because we have the Harley Quinn and Stargirl still to talk about. Is that comics now 15 points, but I only got 10 points from Stargirl.
So, yeah, all the episodes are 10 points. That's how it's always been for me.
Stargirl was an hour long, and I could read a ton of comics in an hour, but it took me an hour to watch the entirety of Stargirl, and I only got 10 points. Harley Quinn was also only 10 points, and Harley Quinn is half as long as Stargirl.
Here, I was thinking about that. I wonder if they're trying to encourage people to read more comics, to check out the comic section, because I feel like a lot of people get DC Universe, they're like, oh, the TV selection sucks, I'm going to leave. So I'm wondering if they're trying to sort of encourage comic reading more, like, oh, look at this big selection we have over here in this section.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, I keep listening to discussion about DC Universe, like podcasts and stuff, and every time they bring it up, which is rare, but they talk about the TV shows. I'm like, but there's so much more, you know? The last thing on the news document this week, because we talked about Titans last week, and we didn't really talk about Titans that much last week. We don't really have a lot of time. Other than that, of course, it still hasn't even started filming yet, which means it's probably not coming till next year. Almost guaranteed. But Bleeding Cool has recently talked about the portrayal of Harley Quinn, or this is from Bleeding Cool. What did DC Comics expect from Poison Ivy and Heroes in Crisis? So Bleeding Cool, apparently Tom King spent Heroes in Crisis with the intention of bringing Ivy back from the dead and reuniting Harley Quinn in a very non-vague way. Well, Bleeding Cool learned that DC Comics were expecting something different from what happened. They were expecting Poison Ivy to return as a bud, Harley Quinn to then grow it, and then for Poison Ivy to turn back into a one-note or two-note villain she used to be. However, Heroes in Crisis writer Tom King had no intention of doing that, and fully restored Poison Ivy, and fully restored Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy's relationship at the end. Albeit Ivy looking a little greener than usual.
I mean,
now,
if DC didn't want to happen, then they wouldn't have proved it. But it
of course, DC Comics then released the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy miniseries, which they used to turn Poison Ivy evil again.
Yeah.
And
so like, fine, Tom King, you can have your good Poison Ivy. We'll just like in this corner.
And last minute, they removed the scene where the two were hugging and Poison Ivy kisses Harley Quinn on the head. And they're holding and they're touching each other in a very intimate way. Okay. Now, and they cut it last minute after like art had been done and everything. Now, given that apparently also this is the other thing. No one wants to write Poison Ivy the way that DC editorial wants them to. So Poison Ivy hasn't been mentioned except from short stories written by mystery writers who apparently haven't been titled. This gets wonky. and that may be the reason why Poison Ivy hasn't been used in a couple months in any serious capacity. And apparently that might be why Sam Humphries is not allowed to use Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, and is forced to use Booster Gold instead. So
what is this? Is this like
so rather
hatred?
than talk about what happened, okay, we'll bring us back up. Harley Quinn episode 7 happened.
No, I really want to talk about that, but I also
and at the very end, we just got to move on because we brought Aurora for Stargirl, and we want to talk about Stargirl. Poor Aurora, sitting there patiently. I appreciate you.
Still, what is the issue? I still have to wonder what the issue is. It's because which way are they pushing it? I mean, do they want evil Poison Ivy, or do they?
The Harley Quinn episode was today, and full spoiler.
I feel like DC editorial has like a real set image in their mind of what Poison Ivy is.
At the end of Harley Quinn episode 7 of season 2, Poison Ivy rescues Harley Quinn. The two hug each other and then go in for a kiss each other. Music swells. Then they pull out from the kiss and they both open their eyes and they are shocked and horrified.
I would say horrified.
Well, okay, they were like, "What just happened?"
I think they were
it's like everybody knew the kiss was coming.
Yeah, I mean, they looked kind of surprised, but I don't think they were horrified at their actions. They're not like, "What have we done?" It was more like, "Wow." I interpret it more as a wow than shock and horror.
I don't know. Like, I'm gonna post.
I wish the next episode was out today.
I'm posting a picture in the chat so you guys can look at it. That to me does not look like wow. But the point is they kissed. Okay.
Where's it in the chat?
The watch only chat.
Okay.
The point is they kissed.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not horror. I think that's just a surprise.
It's a weird surprise.
I think they're wide-eyed.
This is right after they kissed, of course. But because the people listening can't see this, I think what's really important to talk about is the fact that this happened, and that this is only the second time, I think, in a DC Comics medium of any sort that the two have kissed. The first being Injustice.
You see, that's what I'm saying. DC has obviously been very resistant to this idea, for whatever reason, whether that be,
which seems strangely, homophobic in a way that
I want to say it's not.
They aren't in other series.
I'm willing to sort of give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it's just them having an obsessively limited view of what Poison Ivy could be and saying, nope, Poison Ivy is Batman villain. Never make Poison Ivy good or in any way. And don't let any other property touch Poison Ivy. It could be that, or it could be what you said. I honestly don't know. It's been weird that hasn't happened.
It just seems strange that, they get so bent out of shape over that, but yet, you have characters like Batwoman that are, so obviously lesbian,
Yeah, which makes me wonder if it is just them having a super limited view of Poison Ivy. No, Poison Ivy is a Batman villain. Poison Ivy is not allowed to be in other properties. Reserve Poison Ivy as a Batman villain. It could just be them being weirdly protective of Batman.
I think we lost Nathan to the other room.
What? Oh no. No,
I wonder if he's down in everyone's chat room, and I wonder if he accidentally clicked something and hasn't realized it yet.
The circle's fully green. I think he's still talking and doesn't realize that nobody can hear him.
Let's see how long it takes.
Yes.
But if it takes too long, okay. Wait, I'll just stab him.
You just move on to Stargirl now?
Well, what I wanted to mention is now that it's happened on TV, do you think that will open up the non-literal wait, sorry, I'm typing. Do you think that will open it up to happening in the comics more?
Maybe.
I feel like it probably will. Hi, you're back. Where did you go?
I know. So apparently Discord like fully disconnected me, and then I tried to get on, but like it wasn't letting me and saying I was already in this room, so I tried swapping to another room, but then that didn't work. I had to reboot my entire Discord, and that
Okay.
we are good. And of course, thankfully, it still records while I'm gone, so we're good.
So do you think the whole Poison Ivy Harley Quinn thing happening on TV will make it more likely to happen in comics in the future?
So yes
I think
and
it
no.
will.
I think what DC is doing, if I had to take a guess, is they're testing the waters here.
Nah.
Here's what they're trying to do. Okay? If I had to guess, DC seems very hesitant to have fans angry at them. It seems very hesitant to be called out and like being like SJWs, etc., etc., etc.
No.
Well, here's the thing. They have a history of not being super supportive of LGBTQ characters.
That's true.
We've talked about this multiple times, but their biggest character who's of the LGBTQ community, Wonder Woman, has never really had an intimate relationship with a girl.
Is that DC? Is that the writers? Who knows?
But this is where it gets weirder because they've had multiple
Probably
LGBTQ.
DC.
They keep having LGBTQ writers on there. Like Steve Orlando wrote Moonlighter and Apollo, and is gay himself. Right, so there's just lots of this weird stuff where it's like, what is DC actually going to do with Wonder Woman? And so maybe this is them testing the waters on whether fans react positively to an LGBTQ relationship.
I don't think this has anything to do with the comics. I don't think the people in charge of the comics have any say over the Harley Quinn TV show. I think the people making the TV show want it to happen, and the comics don't really have any say over it, so it's happening.
I think that's
so
probably
whatever
fair.
issues blocking it from happening in the comics just isn't blocking on the TV show.
But like, here's the thing: with dealing with characters like Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, Harley Quinn's so big, she's her own franchise, right? It is possible.
It doesn't help that
TV anymore. Have you watched the Arrowverse TV show?
Yes, true.
We're past the water testing.
But also, Harley Quinn is its own franchise in a way that none of the other LGBTQ characters, except maybe Batwoman, have always been. And note, they canceled Batwoman as a comic, so not. Anyway, the point is, I wonder if, and this is stupid that I'm even saying this because it shouldn't be the case, but I feel like it might be. Is Harley Quinn such a big character in her own franchise that can spawn like multiple spin-off books and like miniseries all going on simultaneously? That for her to become a lesbian character pushes waters in a way that the comics aren't used to pushing, because they've never really leaned into the LGBTQ angle with a major character before.
And then, what in the world, especially,
I was saying that they might be protective of, like, Poison Ivy and that whole thing, but you're right. Yeah. It's actually more likely that they're being protective in the wrong way of Harley Quinn.
And then would it be so strange, to actually have a bisexual character,
No, it wouldn't, but in order to have a
characters like
character,
that,
you should still emphasize that they're bisexual.
Yeah.
Right? Like the fact that she's had like an 80-year history, and obviously she hasn't been quote unquote like retconned to be bisexual for 80 years. But the fact that she has an 80-year history and she's never really dated a woman should say something. Like, is she really bisexual? Is DC just claiming it? Does DC not have the guts to admit to it because they're worried about hate?
Yeah.
I mean, they've done enough of it. It's like there's been enough references that they're not just. I don't think they're just saying it because, like, he has a female love interest or lover in Wonder Woman Earth 1. He's referenced quite a bit in Greg Rucka's second Rebirth run. So they obviously haven't done anything major with the idea. They also haven't just completely avoided it.
Yeah, it's been an ever-present idea, but it's not one that they've ever leaned in on.
I guess that's more my point. And so it begs, like, let's be honest, who are their LGBTQ characters? Batwoman, she was retconned. She was always a minor character. she's only become a more major character as a result of her becoming an LGBT character and having a really
no,
because she first appeared in 52. Like, there was another Batwoman whose name was also Catherine Kane, but it's also very clear that those are two separate characters.
They actually literally are. They both.
But she was clearly a smaller character for a long time, right?
When they launched Batwoman, they actually made a pretty major deal about it. Like she was inside of 52, and then she got her own. She took over Detective Comics for a long time. That was when.
Wow.
That was her first.
Like another character would be like Renee Montoya,
Yeah.
Is she really that big of a major tentpole character like Harley Quinn is? No. Is Batwoman really a Harley Quinn type character? I don't know.
Batwoman never really caught on, but she was like, they tried to make her like a major thing from the beginning. She was inside of 52, which was a pretty big book at DC. That's when they introduced her. And her first ever solo run was a stretch of comics for Detective Comics. For a while, when you read Detective Comics, it was just a Batwoman comic.
Yeah.
It was just a solo Batwoman comic. And then she got her own series after that. So it's not like they tried to tuck Batwoman away in the corner. It's just she was never really didn't resonate with readers or something because she wasn't popular.
Yeah.
She's popular enough to still be around, but
I get what you're saying, right? But it's like Apollo and Moonlighter are not big characters. Right? And so I think part of it is
I mean, another one I could think of is, would be Obsidian,
Yeah, but once again, not a very big character.
No.
So curious to see what happens. Once again, Negative Man, right? Not necessarily the biggest character. Great character, one of my favorite characters in the franchise, of Doom Patrol, just in general, not a big character. But the whole point of Doom Patrol is...
Negative Man is way different.
Right, but here's the thing. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are two major household names, similar to Wonder Woman. And to have two major household names as a lesbian couple is a marketing push that DC, I think, has been very hesitant to make. Especially when your comic market is small. Now, I know many people who agree with me that think the diversifying of comics include making two big household names a lesbian couple, especially when there's enough history to begin with, would only encourage readers to come into the comic and check it out. But DC has been hesitant to do that. And we got to move on to Stargirl.
Yeah, I personally have no problem with it.
So that even plays into what I was kind of wondering about earlier, because if the whole reason it's never happened before is because DC is afraid to make the push.
And this makes
now that the TV show has just gone and done it, probably not with the comics input. Now that the TV show has just done it, well, the push is out there. I mean, you can't really go back on the massive TV show, which has been pretty popular, actually. So.
Oh yeah.
So now now that it's out there, there's no push to make. So do you think they'll just start including Wise? Wait.
Well,
why is my
and other media always constantly is impacting the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marvel
Harley
Universe
Quinn is a great example.
I mean, everybody is aware there is going to be that very, very loud, toxic fanboy minority that's, going to cry and wail about everything no matter what you do,
Harley Quinn even made reference to that type of fanboy in the last episode.
Oh yes, God, that made me die laughing. That whole toxic fanboy thing at the beginning. It wouldn't have been as funny if I didn't know a bunch of men that are exactly like that.
Oh, we could watch this episode. Harley Quinn isn't.
Yeah. But I do want to say one last thing. I was a little disappointed with the episode's handling of Bane. I like what they did with Bane, but I feel like I wonder if that's how Bane just goes out. And there's just a lot of weird inconsistencies. Like, obviously, Bane has to get up to the surface somehow, right? There's just, stuff like that where there's some weird plot holes. But I thought it was just a very funny episode with lots of great points. And then the Harley Quinn, then the Poison Ivy opening up, and the absurdity of like Harley Quinn's plan to like escape and all. Like there were just a lot of really great moments. And we haven't even talked about the Barbara Jim Gordon reveal, which is another thing that comics have never done. And we're only like 3 issues in.
Never done what?
Oh, had Barbara reveal who she is to Gordon, right?
I feel like it might have happened, probably.
But like Gordon doesn't know in current continuity, at least.
Yeah.
So it's like another example of something this episode did that comics have been very, very hesitant to do.
Well, I don't think that was hesitant to do so much as nobody really wanted to explore that.
Yeah, that's quite possible.
It always kind of seems like Gordon knows.
Yeah.
Like, he knows, but he's not going to say anything because he can't know, or otherwise, well, then he's legally obliged to arrest his daughter. And like, I get the feeling that he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He just can't.
The comics do sort of give off that feeling that maybe Gordon knows. He's saying
Yeah.
he just will never say it. I actually don't like
possible deniability, you know?
I like to think that he just doesn't know, and it's a comic book, so yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but...
And there was that one episode of Batman the Animated Series, Over the Edge, where Barbara goes into complete, struck with fear toxin and has this really bad reaction, ends up in the hospital, and Gordon doesn't know at the end, but he kind of clearly knows. No, that's
Speaking
where
of that episode, that's like a crazy episode. They that's the one where Barbara Gordon dies, and then he goes after Batman just inside the dream.
Yeah,
but let's move on.
He's so brutally too, considering it's a.
Yeah, well, there's a funny story about her death. Apparently, according to the creators, they just wanted to have her fall in the car and die. But they're like, no, you're not allowed to see it. That's like too direct. Let's just do something different. Like, show it from the inside of the car. And that just makes it like 10 times more frightening to see her like body just fall down in the car while you're like...
It's so much... It's so much more effective.
It is.
You're seeing it with Jim. It's...
You know, it would be much more effective if we talked about Stargirl.
Oh, boy.
Aurora, why don't you kick us off? Thoughts? Go ahead. You can talk for 5 minutes, and then we'll cut you off.
Well, I've actually watched it twice so far. I watched it the first time really late last night because I noticed it was already up on the site, so yeah.
Same, yeah.
I couldn't quite wait until morning, so I watched it, and, I wanted to watch it all the way through once anyway before I let my kid watch it, so... I mean, outside a little bit of language I didn't, he probably, would hear elsewhere. I didn't see much of a problem letting my 7-year-old watch it. Which is great. I've never really been able to, sit down and actually, watch any of the shows with my kids so far. So, this has been a nice change. And, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on it so far?
I loved it. I think there's this weird uncanny valleyness to the town that I think is very purposeful. But I really honestly just want to hear your
everybody saying hello is just meant to be funny.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? There's something just a little off about that.
Well, I think it's just
especially with the contradiction thing. High school, for example, is very off. Like you just get with it.
It's like this town is just a little too friendly.
Yeah.
Maybe that. I think it's just honestly, I do just think it's a joke about like regional differences.
Yeah.
Maybe
inside
American
some places they're super friendly and say hi. Like I'm in Vermont, like we smile at each other, but like if you say anything, like after you don't say anything to each other. That's like a violation of personal space. To say hello.
Like, for example, the American Dream, right? I felt like that was just so shady. Like, there's so many people working there. And I'm like, what even, like, how even does
what did they even do?
I know, right? Like, obviously, they're going to fill in the details.
And then when the school says that, that they had, them, recalibrate their, list of, after school activities for optimal participation. And I'm thinking,
oh yeah, maybe there is I just interpreted that as school is trying to get kids to do stuff, but I'm kind of an idiot.
In the original Stars and Stripes series, there is kind of that, like the principal is really shady and all of the teachers are villains in some way or
I don't think
another.
I've read that series.
I think that's definitely where they're leaning, especially since, the first episode was written by Jeff Johns, and Stars and Stripes was his first show his first
and then,
comic.
When you start seeing the people hanging around the building, and you're starting to, recognize, who they are, and it's like, okay, there's something definitely fishy here, but in what sort of way,
Those villains seem to
and
have
who
high
else
positions in the
who
town.
else picked up on the janitor?
Yeah.
Wait, who was the
There
janitor?
was.
Janitor was just looking at her weird.
I picked up that there was the janitor who's very important, like oddly super important.
Because if you've read Stars and Stripes, you know what's going on with the janitor.
Oh, I need to read that now.
Wait, go ahead. What do you think is going on? What is the
after.
comic phase going on?
If it's like the comics, the janitor is actually Shining Knight.
Oh. Huh. Actually.
In disguise.
Yeah, so...
Well, if Jeff Johns is making this and wrote that, that's definitely going down. They did definitely call attention to the janitor. I wasn't sure what was going on with the janitor.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
But he's actually one of the older heroes that is at the school incognito.
So I want to give an update real quick. So there was the boss of CW gave a report on what they're cutting. And they said episode 1 and 2 of DC Universe is much longer by about 8 minutes. And what did the production team choose to cut? They chose to cut scenes. So rather than do like lots and lots of little small moments, they said that they like to live in scenes and they don't want to have dialogue every second. But they said this, and I thought this was interesting. So there were scenes that were dropped from episodes 1 and 2 from DC Universe to CW. But from episode 3 on, they're almost identical, and you won't be able to tell.
Oh.
So, yes, we're getting an extra extended cut version, but it's not going to be as extended cut as we originally thought it would be.
Do you think that it changed because of the CW?
No, probably not. Think about Swamp Thing, right? Swamp Thing's first episodes were like an hour each, and then they were like 40 minutes afterwards.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Was it just me, or did it feel like this episode of Stargirl ended abruptly?
Yeah.
Well, it definitely felt like a two-parter.
Yes, it did.
It's just... Yeah, it just felt weird, because it's like, oh, confronting the major villain. Here's this dude with a car mech.
And what do you guys think of the staff?
I actually
loved it. Right, what were your thoughts?
That's the one big thing, I can say compared, to the comics is it's like, I love the fact that they, gave the staff a life all its own.
Yeah, I like how it's the sort of personality. It's fun.
IGN.
So I'm hoping for cool action since she's sort of swung from the staff. The staff can stay suspended like a solid object in like air.
I love the gymnastics.
They sort of played around with that idea. I'm hoping we see some really cool action scenes where they like swing from the staff but still grab it and like use it. Like they could chain together things really.
I mean, I came to the conclusion the possibilities were like endless after like some of like those fun, just her messing around with her power stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like pole vaulting, like. She's like using it as like a bar.
No, it isn't like, any of this. I mean, it's not like it's pretty close to the comic, but at the same time,
it's different.
It's different. It's not completely canon, but yeah. So, I mean, it's like the, other, characters are showing up. It's like, okay, they're being drawn from, a lot of the characters are being drawn from Infinity Inc., It'll be interesting to see if anybody else from
like
Infinity Inc. shows up.
Based on the pitch for the show, yeah, because the description is that she like inspires a new generation of heroes. So I sort of thought that they were sort of going to inform Infinity Inc.
Well, we do have DC Universe posted like some pictures of like some of the new costumes, right, from the new JSA, right?
Yeah.
We got a new
The
Hour
JSA
Man.
The description says that
We got like a younger Hour Man costume, who I think, if I had to guess, I'm looking at the picture, if I had to guess, the younger Hour Man is that girl at the losers table, that black woman at the losers table.
That would be Dr. Midnight.
Yeah.
Beth Chapel.
Dr. Midnight.
Beth
Which,
Chapel, and then
yes, which is
Yolanda.
Infinity Inc. Yolanda Montez, which is Wildcat. Yeah.
Who do you think is
Rick Tyler?
Okay. Who do you think is like? I'm looking at the
series
picture
follows
of Hour
Courtney
Man.
Whitmore, portrayed by Breck Bassinger, who discovers the cosmic staff and becomes the inspiration for a new generation of superheroes who becomes the Justice Society of America. So it looks like they'll just be making a new Justice Society of America. But it's basically Infinity Inc. at this point, right?
It makes you wonder if some of the, some of the characters you didn't specifically see croak may turn up again,
Oh no! So Beth is
I feel like they can
Dr.
pull it
Midnight is
off once or
absolutely
twice.
Beth, and they confirmed it in the DC community.
Yeah.
So that's not even speculation.
Yeah, I mean, Beth Chapel was the second Dr. Midnight in Infinity Inc., and Yolanda Montez was the second Wildcat in Infinity Inc. And Infinity Inc. is also when Rick Tyler became the second Hour Man. So it's like they're sandwiching the two strips together,
Mm-hmm.
I like the
idea of a new generation of superheroes.
Also, can I say that striped suit looked really cool?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was that one. Stripe has always looked really cool in all the promotional materials, except for that one poster they made, which was absolutely horrendous. It was so bad. Like, Stripe is in the background, it just looks horrendous. But
okay.
Besides that, Stripe has always looked good, so I had high hopes, and it lived up to it.
So here's a question.
The special effects were really good inside this.
Did we meet Yolanda in that episode?
Yolanda and Beth are the ones sitting in the cafeteria with
Are
her at the
both...
table, and I think Rick Tyler is the boy that's sitting at the table with them. So all three of them are just sitting there in the first episode.
Basically, the Breakfast Club. It's the JSA Breakfast Club now.
Yeah.
Probably, actually.
Which, if all four of them are there, that could be a reason why Shiny Knight is there as the janitor.
Yeah.
Stalking them and making sure they don't die.
Yeah, that's actually quite possible.
I mean, especially if Yolanda and Rick were already, there, because he'd already be there keeping an eye out. Because I mean, if this is actually, Rick Tyler, son of the original Hour Man, he'd probably be there to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
They said what the actor who was playing him was, but I'd have to go through a lot of steps to confirm what you guys are saying.
It's Lou Ferrigno Jr.
By the end of the season, we're definitely going to get like a full-blown superhero team.
Oh, 100%. They're like they have the costumes and stuff, and they look amazing. Like,
I know the interview that I saw with the girl that's playing Wildcat. She was saying she doesn't really figure in much until like the fourth episode. So.
No, I just love the costume so much. Like the Hour Man costume looks
the only complaint that I've heard people utter about her costume is how would I put it? It makes her head look like a bowling ball.
You mean like most Wildcat outfits do?
They just said it makes the top of her head look like a bowling ball, and looking at it, I can kind of see it,
Yeah, but I just love the look so much.
Really, I think you need to see costumes in action.
Yeah.
Yeah, the costume design
I'm excited for the show.
Like the brainwave costume looked really cool. Just a bunch of that sort of stuff. Just looked amazing.
It makes me wonder if we're going to get the whole again, coming back to the Infinity Inc. thing, you're kind of wondering if you're going to eventually get, the school bully turning into the whole, Brainwave Jr. thing and turning on his dad,
I feel like that's definitely
eventually.
going to happen.
But here's what's really interesting, because the person who created the Stargirl costumes also did all the Doom Patrol and Titans
they
costumes.
set up that character way too much for that. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would be weird if...
Yeah. That's a problem. I do say I'm like looking at her costume, and I still don't love that it's like that her pants are so short. But like, and that like her belly's exposed. But that's just me, I guess. But I think it looks really
There's
Well,
literally an
that's-
episode... Okay, yeah. I thought so. There's an episode called Brainwave Jr., so...
Yeah.
Which is
all the episodes are named after characters we're going to be seeing.
Do you think up there in the order we'll see them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the order of the... Or maybe just the order they focus on them. Like, the next episode is going to be called Stripe.
That seemed unusual. The scene where right after, the car gets blown up and, they're in the office, they're talking, and, Brainwave takes that key and he's unlocking that thing. Did anybody notice when he unlocked that little secret room behind the bookcase, there was like a framed woman's picture on the wall back there, like it was hidden?
Yep, I remember.
Yeah.
And if you paid attention, well, like I said, also you'd have to read Infinity Inc., and that's part of what we're reading in the JSA book club, is that it's that Brainwave Jr.'s mother was actually the Star Spangled Kid's nephew.
By the way, to answer, because if you guys are curious, Our Man and Dr. Mid. So episode 3 is Icicle. Episode 4 is Wildcat. Episode 5 is Our Man and Dr. Midnight. Episode 6 is the Justice Society. And then episode 7 is Shiv, Part 1.
I thought episode 6 was Brainwave.
No, I haven't seen a Brainwave Jr. yet. Maybe it's one of the episode titles, but it's not in June.
Wait, let me check.
But yes, I'm
going based off of Wikipedia list.
If you look at the comics, Brainwave was actually I think he was actually married to Sylvester Pemberton's sister.
Wikipedia seems to have a list of all the episodes, but all the episodes past episode 5 are in alphabetical order because they don't know the order they're going to be coming out. They just know which ones have been written. But eventually there will be an episode called Brainwave Jr.
It will be after Shift Part 1.
Okay, so they're probably going to go... So, Pilot, Stripe, Icicle, Wildcat, Our Man and Dr. Midnight, Justice Society of America, Shiv Part 1, Shiv Part 2, Brainwave, Brainwave Jr., the Stars and Stripes Part 1 and 2.
And Stars and Stripes Part 2, probably.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's the
But no, we talked about like this being a two-parter. Episode 1 and 2 were both written by Jeff Johns. Like, that just screams two-parter.
I wasn't really expecting it to end so abruptly. I mean, like, even if it was a two-parter, it just felt like the whole episode had no resolution.
Although it was a very...
They didn't really market it as a two-part.
It was a very busy and deliberate pacing of the first episode. Like, I was very impressed by that. Like, I really related to Stargirl. What's her, like, name in the comics? Like, her hero name. Like, identity name, I mean. Why am I failing?
Stargirl's name?
Yeah, what's Stargirl's actual name?
Courtney Whitmore.
Thank you. I don't know why I was goofing off on that. But I really related to Courtney's sort of struggle, and I thought they did a really good job showcasing that off and sort of creating this distinct, the things in my life I valued are missing. and the things that are here are not things I value. And I thought that sort of base idea was really relatable and really well done, and I'm very impressed by it.
Honestly, I think the actual superhero plot was my least favorite part of this.
Although I loved the exploring her powers. But
Yeah, it was fun to see that, but it all felt very almost generic. Not that that's bad, but it did feel generic. Person discovers secret power, then goes and confronts some bullies that were set up earlier.
Yeah.
And ends up accidentally blowing up something. That's so cliche at this point. It's been done so many times. It's the classic story. I mean, it's classic because it works.
It's like I read something that,
but it's everything surrounding inside this episode that makes it great, in my opinion.
I was reading the reaction thread on the forum earlier, and it did kind of crack me up. And somebody else mentioned it, how the staff did a little happy dance after it blew up the car.
Oh yeah, no, it's sort of like yeah. It's very pleased with itself. I like how it has sort of the personality. It's fun.
But I generally really like the episode, and I'm very pleased by what
it's
we
like
saw.
Her reaction when she opens her eyes and the staff is right there in her face and she screams and falls off the bed. It's totally believable,
I wonder if they'll try to incorporate that into the comics, because the staff does not act like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I think it generally adds a lot of character to and gives Courtney Beck Messenger something to react off of. Although I don't know if the stick is actually there, or if it's a literal little wooden stick and then a prop or whatever. I'm super curious to see
have a physical prop, but I don't think
obviously it's not glowing and it's not. I don't know if it's floating or what, but I'd be super curious to see how they are doing the stick.
Yeah, how many scenes do you think the stick is actually just 100% CGI?
Oh, probably quite a few.
Yeah.
But it looks really good, and I was really impressed by the show overall. So, we gotta wrap this up. Aurora, I'll give you another minute to give some more thoughts. And then everyone's gonna rank it out of 10.
Yes, I mean, that's why I said, if you really want to get, a sense of who the other characters in the show are, read up on Infinity Inc. It's gonna, tell you a bit about those characters, even though their backgrounds aren't going to be the same as what they are on the show. That's the biggest thing that I've been dealing with this week, reading up with what people have been saying, reading up to actually seeing the show where they're like, oh, why are they making this character and this character and this character girls? And I'm like, it's actually canon, people, Go back, read this. Have you read this particular series?
That's always criticism.
Yes.
When the Batwoman trailer first came out on YouTube, and all the whole comment section was like, oh, why did they gender swap Batman? And Batwoman's a real character.
And I'm thinking, have they actually read this? Because it's actually canon that the second, Dr. Midnight and the second Wildcat were female all along. You just haven't read that series,
I haven't read Stars and Stripe, but I have read Infinity. So
yeah,
I have a feeling as time goes on, I'm going to start recognizing the actual series. Although it's been a long time, so I don't remember.
I'd love if more of the Infinity Inc. characters started showing up in this, particular thing. What will be interesting, and I know that I read through a little bit of the Q&A tonight, and it will be interesting, following, stuff they had in the JSA series, or, other things with her in it, as she puts it, eventual romances for Courtney, are they going to throw, the whole Shazam thing in there? Are they going to, possibly bring an Atom Smasher type character in eventually? Where, oh yes, whole unrequited, crush on an older boy, which is totally relatable, but, I could see where they'd have to be careful about it. Yeah.
What if it was Brainwave Jr., the person she smacked and blew up their car?
Yes.
It wasn't even Brainwave Jr.'s car, it was Brainwave's car. Brainwave Jr. didn't even ask to take it.
True. I love how we're just assuming the son is Brainwave Jr. because it probably is, but that makes sense.
There's no way, because that character is Brainwave Jr. inside, like, the comic, right?
Yeah.
And there's this episode called Brainwave Jr., and they set them up as Brainwave's son. And we spent a lot of time actually seeing him. And seeing his dynamic with his father. It's gonna happen.
Oh, well, I'm sure. So, we gotta wrap this up.
Prediction of the century, people. I'm clearly a true psychic.
We gotta wrap this up because we're going
Nobody
really...
could have seen that coming.
But of course, I totally expect us to go long with all the news. So, Aurora, rate this series rate the pilot out of 10.
Oh, I mean, I would say, right now, I mean, I would rate it at about a 9, they're only because, like they said, it ended so abruptly, and it's like, I wanted it to be about another 3 hours longer,
Good news, you'll get another hour next week.
Something I forgot to mention is Breck Bassinger or whatever.
Yeah.
Her acting felt like sometimes it was good, and other times it felt a bit weird. To me, at least.
But she's also getting to know the character.
I found her totally believable, and not everybody nails everything right off the bat in the first episode.
Yeah, I feel like I can't rate this episode fairly because it would be actually like a surprisingly low rating, which it feels wrong because I actually really enjoyed it, but it just was not a complete story in any way.
I mean, does it have to be a complete story for a first episode?
It wasn't a complete story. Like the actual episode has no resolution.
Okay. Rate
it
how you felt the episode was the whole, assuming that every episode this season will be like that. Like that quality.
I think we need I need the next episode to be able to actually see the story and rate it, but right now I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it more than a 7 out of 10. It's weird.
Okay. A 7 out of 10 means good, so that's not a bad spot to start it off. TornadoSoup, what would you rate it?
So, I'm gonna go with... Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to make sure that I don't just base it off the fact that I got to see a bunch of Justice Society members in it, and that made me really happy. And focus on the actual episode.
How many of them do you think are still alive? Because we only saw 2 die.
Actually, I saw 3. Because one.
I wasn't counting.
Wildcat.
I wasn't counting Starman. For whatever reason, I didn't count him.
Yeah, okay. Then that would be 4. But you see Wildcat, and gets shot out the roof of the building.
Yeah.
And then Our Man, obviously, Starman, obviously croaks. And if you paid attention, Sandman was already laying there as a corpse on the floor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yes.
Is Wildcat really dead? He's got 9 lives. So...
Yeah.
He might... I'm gonna say that it's a 50-50 chance on whether or not he's dead.
Yeah, because he was outside.
He was...
Yeah, he was also specifically outside and then left behind, so who knows, could have run away or something.
Yeah.
Survived. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I could also see it not happening. I think you're right. It's a 50-50 chance.
I'm excited. But think about the characters you saw. You saw Flash's helmet, but you didn't see a body, You didn't see Green Lantern. You didn't see Green Lantern at all.
And have you seen how many people were in the dang photo? We haven't seen the Hawks. Or Johnny Thunder.
Hawks are never dead, really, so...
Exactly.
Wait another 30 years and Hawkman will be back, so it's...
I mean, you didn't see, you didn't see, you saw Flash's helmet, you didn't see a body, you didn't see a Green Lantern, you didn't,
How many photo do we know of that are actually cast? Because I feel like there are more people in those photos than there are actually cast.
Because it would be weird for them to, cast them for just that one little brief scene, you know?
Yeah, if I had to guess, they'll start small with 3 or 4, with the 4 at the table, and then maybe Brainwave Jr. if he turns good. I don't know the story, so I couldn't tell you. But and they'll start out small, and then they'll get bigger.
Yeah, they'll film the new.
Because it would be weird to cast those characters with such, big name people and then do nothing with them, you know?
Yeah.
Especially
like
Joel
we're definitely
McHale
getting
is.
some flashbacks or something. At least one. I think some characters are going to show back up, but there are less people cast than people in the photo of the JSA.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could argue that some of them are alive, but some we won't see just because.
And it could be a matter of, the ones that are still alive have probably gone into hiding, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And gotta.
The villains seem to be doing well for themselves. They have pretty nice lives.
And I mean, you technically didn't see Dr. Midnight die. He just got swallowed up by some blob and pulled off screen, you know?
Okay, wait, so I'm going to...
He wasn't too happy, but...
Okay, we gotta wrap this up. So I have 2 things. One, what was going on with that guy at the car garage? Like, that was such a weird scene. It felt like I was missing something.
That was a weird scene.
Aurora? Who was the guy in the car garage?
Oh, that's Sportsmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Sportsmaster. Larry...
It?
Yeah, Larry Kroc.
Oh, I didn't realize. That's weird.
Okay. And then, last but not least...
And then his daughter was in it.
What this has proven is it's been too long since I've read any of this stuff, so I've forgotten all their actual real names. I just remember the, superhero names.
Then Larry's daughter was also in it, and her, that's Artemis Kroc. Oh... So that's fun too. Artemis is also in the show.
So we're probably going to be getting...
Have we met Artemis? Apparently not. Okay.
No.
Okay, got it. Just checking.
Do you think every episode is
going to be cheerleader girl? Did we get her name?
Oh, you mean Shiv?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Now I'm good.
Yeah.
So to conclude everything off, I'm going to give it an 8. I'm very, very with it. I think the opening at moments didn't quite work. I think it was like JSA, JSA, JSA. But once they left the JSA, there was this period where everything just felt very low stakes and like it was like not you, like you must choose someone, but not you. And they said that joke 4 times, and I was like, it wasn't funny, super funny the first time, extra wasn't funny the following times. Moments like that just threw me off.
I mean, and yes, I've heard it from other people. It's like they found it kind of strange, but Starman actually came off as kind of a jerk.
And I think it's interesting.
You can't do it.
But I also think it's interesting how we all sort of disagree on the point of the town. I thought the town was very, very off-putting. We seem to have some mixed opinions about that, and so I think some of the direction of the show is a little.
I admitted I was wrong.
No, that's okay. I think, but my point is that some of those sorts of things were a little unclear.
I think this episode is better in retrospect after the other episodes are out because it just spends so much time setting up things that feel
and I'm really sure that's
disjointed without the context of the rest of the show. Because there's tons of weird scenes of characters that just don't seem important, but
what was the point of the American Dream?
Superheroes in the future, so they're going to be important. So while this episode did sort of feel disjointed because of that, I feel like it will feel less so once all the episodes are out.
What do you know? I'm getting a feeling about this, and I don't know if I'd want to speculate because it could be totally off on a bunny trail, but where the town seems not quite right, and everybody seems just a little too friendly and blah blah blah. And the fact that Brainwave is there, what if there is something mind control-ish going on there?
That's true.
Maybe, but I'm gonna conclude here. I think there is some there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
This is a long 6-minute episode, and I loved it. And Aurora, I'm so glad that you're pleased. I was kind of worried it wouldn't be, and then it'd be well, but so I'm so glad you're appreciative.
It's I have to remind myself nothing is going to be perfectly canon here, but for what it is, I'm actually very, very happy with it, and I really excited to see where this is going.
Sort
And of course, remember, this is part of the multiverse now. Last thing,
Yes.
Aurora, are you planning on rewatching it with the CW to see what they cut?
Yes, I'm planning on rewatching it on. I don't have cable, but I'll catch it on the CW site on Wednesday whenever it comes up, just to see what the differences between the two episodes are.
Okay, so
on different networks,
I fully hope to have you on next week. That's all the time we have this week. We are on We haven't even pulled up my prep to say. Oh wait, we also have the TV report real quick. TV show report. Batwoman finale was on yesterday on Sunday. Supergirl was also finale was also on Sunday. Apparently, they also both ended fairly well. Congrats to them for like ending midway and somehow working. Stargirl episode 1 was on Monday. Tuesday, we had Stargirl on the CW on tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow episode 13, I Am Legends tomorrow. And then on Friday, Harley Quinn episode 8, and on Monday, Stargirl episode 2. So that's all the time we have for this week. We're on Podbean, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So subscribe on all those services. We are not an Apple Podcast, because I don't know. Apples are served in a school cafeteria, and the cafeteria is mean to Stargirl.
Because an apple fell on Sir Isaac Newton's head, and we want to respect Isaac Newton. So,
yep.
There.
But that led to like scientific revolution.
I don't need to know about gravity.
That's
Good
true.
apples.
Why do we even like care about gravity? It just exists. We don't need to learn in school to know it.
Yeah, we can just have magic cosmic rods that fly us everywhere. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hey.
Bye.
For the record, I totally want a nice cosmic staff for myself. Or they got